Well, it finally happened. The New York City Council just passed Resolution 368, which calls for fair pay for musicians in streaming. What does this mean for the future of streaming and royalties? We're gonna get into it in this video. Let's go. Welcome back. If you don't know who I am, I'm Chris Hierro, singer, songwriter, producer, also native New Yorker, born and raised. I started this channel a while back to share a little bit of my insights on music production, songwriting, and in general, just like my thoughts on the music business and music industry. A while back, I made a video where I talked about my first trip ever to City Hall. Why was I there? I was there to support this Resolution 368, which just passed. So, huge news. New York City Council passes resolution endorsing fair pay in streaming. Today, the NYC Council voted. This wasn't today, this was on the 28th. 2 days ago from the filming of this video, the New York City Council voted to pass Resolution 368, which calls for fair pay for artists in music streaming. Now, this is amazing news. Last video I made, I was literally talking to everybody, calling out to my fellow musicians and colleagues to support this bill, right? To support the resolution. Now we got to make something clear because I was even confused about this a while back. What just passed was the Resolution 368. The act itself isn't law, right? So this isn't a thing that is happening just yet, but we are one step closer to that, which is a victory, a win, and we're definitely celebrating. We're definitely happy about that. Let's look it up just to be sure of what the heck we're talking about. When a resolution is passed in New York City, it means that the New York City Council has officially expressed its opinion or will on a specific issue. Resolutions are not binding laws like ordinances, but they can serve as a way for the council to state its position on a matter, endorse a certain stance, or request action from other parties. More details. Not a law. Resolutions are distinct from bills that become laws. While bills require the mayor's signature to become law, resolutions are a form of expressing sentiment or will and do not require mayoral approval. Okay? So this is a step in the direction. This is letting Congress know New York City supports Resolution 368. Now let's read a little bit more about this. I'm thrilled the New York City Council has passed my Resolution 368 today in support of the Living Wage for Musicians Act. In the music capital of the world, artists deserve fair pay and dignity, shared Council member Shahana Hanif. As streaming platforms pay artists less than a third of a penny per play, this is a critical step toward making our city more affordable for working musicians to living and creating music here. So this is huge. I always talk about this. I've talked about this on my Instagram channel. I've talked about it here. Us musicians on average are making 0.003 cents per play in streaming. If you compare this back to the days of CDs and record sales, that's insanely little. That's just like, it does not compare at all to back then when if somebody wanted to support you, they would pay $1 for a single, for example, or even more, right? Or an album would cost you anywhere from $10 to $20 or more. Nowadays, you're getting percentages of a cent on the dollar, which is just insane. Anyway, the Living Wage for Musicians Act would finally ensure that artists are fairly compensated for their work on streaming services by creating a new streaming royalty paid directly to artists. The new royalty would be an additional revenue stream on top of artists' existing royalties. The act was originally introduced by Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and former Congressman Jamal Bowman and was developed in collaboration with musician advocacy organization United Musicians and Allied Workers. In my last video, I told you about United Musicians and Allied Workers. They're an organization, almost like a union, that's been organizing here in New York and all over the country, fighting for musicians' rights. And I stated in that video how I have always leaned a little bit more libertarian, which basically means that in my political view, I am not quick to ask the government to come in and do things or for the government to give me or us more money, because it's not that I'm against fairness, but I don't agree with the ways that sometimes the government goes about getting the money to pay for these certain things, right? Things like taxes come out of our own pockets. And then sometimes that money goes to things and causes that we don't all support. This cause in particular, though, I stated in my last video, I am definitely behind and I think is a good cause because you know what? I've lost all hope in record labels and what they can do for us or the music industry itself organizing in some way and helping the little guy. It just isn't what happens. It is not the norm. So we need help from above. That's why I've been supportive of this bill and this resolution. And I'm happy that this happened. Now, on the topic of this new music royalty, I was just watching this interesting video by my girl, Top Music Lawyer. She is great. You guys should go follow her, subscribe to her. She has a lot of great information. She's a lawyer, but she's also an artist. So she understands this side of the whole thing. And she's one of the people that's out there fighting the good fight. Anyway, check out what she has to say about this new royalty and where this money's gonna come from.
There would be two ways that you guys can get paid more, let's say from Spotify. So the bill proposes that Spotify would essentially add on up to 50%. So it would be 50% of the subscription. If someone is paying for a certain tier, they would then have to pay 50% more. So at a minimum, $4, and at a maximum, $10.
So this is where it gets tricky. Basically, this new royalty, one of the places where the money's gonna come from is they would raise the price of streaming platforms like Spotify. We already know that Spotify has been raising their prices little by little. People are already complaining that that the subscriptions are too much. I'm one of those people that's constantly complaining about everything becoming a subscription, everything being too expensive. And so add more money on top of that for people to pay. I don't know that people are gonna want to do that. I don't know that people are gonna be happy about that. And it's just another variable to all this, right? It's not simply just, oh, more money, yay. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is where it would come from. One of the places where it would come from.
Now, the way that this is going to work is that essentially this is a government-made charity. So there will be a new organization that is put into place for purposes of receiving all these additional funds. And it comes from these subscriptions in part. Now, the other piece of it is that essentially 10% is supposed to come from non-subscription revenue. So this would be ads. If you are watching ads on Spotify, there is ad revenue being paid that you do not get to participate in. Right now, the way it works is that when there are royalties paid from music platforms, it comes from the subscription fees that are paid to listen to music on these platforms. But there's other ways that these platforms are making money through advertisement, right? There's audiobooks, there's all kinds of things that are non-music.
So there you go, right? So that's good news, right? We're finally going to get a slice of that pie that we haven't been getting. Ad money, audiobook money.
We will also take this portion that is going to be from the actual subscription as a tack on, which it's kind of like, I guess we're going to find out how much people really love music. How much are your fans willing to support you? Because if their subscription fees go up by 50%, $4, that's a lot. $10, that's a lot. And so will people push back on doing this if it becomes something where the federal government's like, oh no, this has to happen?
That's kind of nuts. And that's a very interesting point. You're going to find out who your fans and your followers really are right now. If this happens, you're going to have people that are going to be upset about having to give more money to their streaming platforms.
So there's that. But another benefit is that the idea is to address inequity, right, in the streaming payout process. Because here's the thing, with this new charity, this new entity that would be set up by the government, it's now bypassing music distributors. That's really interesting to me because I go, a big part of the problem right now in the music business infrastructure for independent artists is that we have these kind of scummy music distributors who are taking advantage of you guys, and not just taking advantage of your royalties and taking their little cut and being like, oh, we're going to rip you out of your account and we're going to take your royalties, and we're even going to put that language literally in our contracts that you sign because you don't have a right to negotiate them. So we have our own problems with music distributors.
This is huge, guys. This is a very, very good point. I urge you to go watch her video on this. She breaks this down. She goes into each one of these distributors and she shows you how each one of them are scamming you in different ways. It's just what it is, guys. This is the state of music right now. You have to choose the lesser of many evils. And so that's another plus of this act. If passed into law, these distributors would be bypassed. We would get this royalty clean to us. Right now, the ones who pay us for our streams are these distributors, and we don't know the deals exactly that they have, because guess what? The record labels have their own deals with the streaming platforms, and so do the distributors. So this would be another plus if we could bypass the distributors and get this money straight to the artists.
What's interesting to me as a huge plus on this is I go, well, there would be this separate revenue stream for this fund that would never have anything to do with music distributors. And I love that. All right. And so another one might be, this can potentially help to sustain careers. The whole thing here is I think that a lot of people have just kind of given up on this idea that it's possible to have a sustainable music career, from streaming. Now, here's what we talk about a lot on the channel. We're like, you need to learn to think like a record label and actually build up what you're doing as a music business.
So this is a very interesting point. I, as an artist, have gone through a journey. And I think that if you don't go through this journey as an independent artist, you still aren't ready to, one, deal with success in the industry, or to even notice if you're having success or not. You have to basically get to the point where you understand that there are multiple royalties that you need to be collecting as an artist. Especially if you're independent, you have to go sign up with all these different organizations separately. Your PRO, your mechanical royalty, your sound exchange royalties, and a bunch of other ones. You should look at some of the videos that she posts. There's a couple of videos on YouTube that you could look up where you could find out about all of this, because this information is super duper duper important, y'all. Super important. Every independent artist needs to know this, and it's the only way that you could gather these dollars and cents and put them together for yourself so that you could scrap together some sort of a living. It's hard. That's why we need the Living Wage for Musicians Act. It's not an exaggeration to say that musicians on average aren't really making a living wage. Anyway, check out her video in full because it's really dope. I just kind of wanted to point to some of those things that she says there. It's a really great video. She goes into a bunch of detail, and yeah, it's really good. Let's keep reading this article here in digitalmusicnews.com that talks about the passing of the resolution 368. UMAL thanks council member Hanif and all the council members who voted for this resolution for standing with NYC's music community, adds UMAL organizer and musician Joey Lanive DiFrancesco. I gave him a shout out in my last video, and I showed you a picture of him, and I told you my experience from meeting him. Really nice guy, along with the rest of the people from UMAL. Very cool people. This is a huge win for NYC musicians and musicians across the country. It proves once again that when artists stand together united, we can fight and we can win. We still have a lot of work to do to win fair pay in streaming, but this is a big step forward. Over 14,000 musicians operate in our city, but still make below minimum wage while generating billions for this sector of the entertainment industry, adds council member Carmen de la Rosa, Dominicana, RD in the house, Plátano Power, chair of the committee on civil service and labor. The Living Wage for Musicians Act is a lifeline for musicians who must rely on an exploitative royalty structure to make ends meet, and uplifts a vibrant workforce that deserves to be paid fairly for their art and talent. There is no lie said there in that statement. I have been one who has been saying for a while that, listen, again, I lean libertarian, yo, so I'm not over here asking for handouts. I'm not asking for anybody to give me anything that I don't deserve. I believe in merit. I believe in busting your butt. And for the people that are really good at what they do, to be compensated fairly. Now, that being said, the way music is set up is weird, yo. We're the only people who are expected to do our work for crumbs or for nothing, or for supposedly what's the one that they always tell me? For exposure. Exposure, man. Get out of here with that. Anyway, it closes by saying the New York City Council taking this action shows that fair pay in streaming and the Living Wage for Musicians Act is an idea with popular support and one that politicians can get behind. Music benefits everybody, but streaming is not benefiting musicians. The LWMA is a straightforward solution to the widely acknowledged problem, said UMAL organizer and musician Damon Krukowski. So that's it, y'all. Resolution 368 just passed. This is great news. We're very happy about it. Let's see how this unfolds and how this develops. Hopefully, this is a step in the right direction. Hopefully, soon we'll be making a little bit more money so we could pay our bills and sustain ourselves. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel. Hopefully I can make some more videos like this. If you like it, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you agree with what I said. If you disagree, if you have any ideas of how we should do things moving forward. If maybe you have a better idea for how we should maybe get money for musicians and things like that. Do you believe in unions? Are you a libertarian? Do you hate libertarians? Do you think they're fascists or right-wingers? Let me know. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.